Welcome to Big Sister. I want to talk with y'all today about a few things, but before that, I'd like to say thank you for being subscribers to this channel. Those of you who visit, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I hope you had a wonderful week and you're having a wonderful weekend. I have a few things that I have to do today, and I actually had done this video yesterday, but I was doing it while I was driving. And so after reviewing it and listening to it, and even with me trying to extract the noise, even though I was able to get a lot of the background noise out, it still was just a little too noisy. So I had to just take things into consideration for those of you who may already have some hearing loss or just struggle with hearing voices in with background going on. So here we go. So today I want to talk about a diamond in the rough. Diamonds in the rough. And what that basically is just like how precious diamonds, the most precious gems, are often found deep in the earth, underneath, all, deep in the rock and all of that. And it takes a while to find them. There's a lot of digging and things involved. And when you're talking in terms of individuals, people, sometimes there are hidden treasures, a hidden beauty within what you cannot see at present with someone. So let's say you grew up, and as you're growing up, or you know somebody, they're not that good looking right now, and you see them later on and they're absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes people are in their phases of growth and they are still a little bit awkward socially or quirky. They're still trying to figure out who they are, especially when you get into those adolescent years. And so you can be socially awkward. There could be so many different things, and people will often reject you or think, no, I don't want to go out with that person, or this person's too weird, or they're not very talkative. But actually, it's a diamond in the rough. So what does that mean? For the context of this video, I would like to say that we have to be careful how we treat people. Let's say even if you meet somebody and you are not specifically attracted to them, or you may try to like them, but you just can't seem to like them the way they like you can't force those feelings. But what is important is how you treat that individual. So if someone likes you and you don't like them back, then you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to embarrass that person. You don't have to tell everybody, ooh, look, he tried to talk to me. She tried to talk to me. Ooh, he asked me out. They're so gross. You don't have to do things like that, because what goes around comes around. Life has a way of coming back in a way that you're not going to like it when it's you. Okay, you may never ever be in that position where you will be the socially awkward person because you're popular, or you will never be the one that people are rejecting because you are good looking. But when you do things to other people that's mean, it always has a way of coming back to you in a different kind of way. All right, so we can force ourselves to like someone. But oftentimes what happens, you're meeting, sometimes you can, well, let me stick to this. You can't force yourself to like a person, but how you treat them does matter. And maybe you're on the flip side of it. Maybe you like someone, but they don't like you back. Don't let that reflect on you, like, oh, something is wrong with me. We have to understand that if there's someone you like and they don't like you back, I can't make an excuse for them to be rude. They shouldn't be rude. They shouldn't insult you. But you have to not internalize that and say, oh, it's because of this or that. Because the truth is, people do have a right and they have the choice to like you or not like you. But you have to be able to realize that is a choice someone has, not internalize it, not take that with you and allow it to affect you in such a way that you are immobilized mentally and emotionally because of this person. Again, I think what happens sometimes is you will meet someone who, especially nowadays, people who are just rude and disrespectful. And so that is just wrong. So let me give you an example. I remember a long time ago, I grew up in New York, and I remember going home for the holidays. I was grown up, I was away from home at this point, but I went home for the holidays. And I was at the train station, and this guy comes up to me and he's approaching me. He's trying to talk to me or whatever, complimenting me and how pretty I was and all these different things. And he wanted my number. I have to think like this is like the early 2000s, stuff like that. And so people are still approaching you like, hey, trying to get your number, especially in New York. And I recognize him. I recognize him from elementary school. And I remember him. We were in the fifth grade together. Now, he did not remember me, but I remembered him because I remembered mustering up the courage with my friends to tell him I liked him. His name was Eric. And I put, the classic letter, I like you. Do you like me? Yes. Yeah, I had 3 boxes. Yes, no, maybe. Oh, he scrawled a big no. Okay. Is he like, I'm serious. He almost ripped that paper. He put a big ugly no and put no, you're too black. Okie dokie. So he says no, but on top of it, I was too dark for him. Okay. Keep in mind, Eric is a chocolate guy, but I'm too dark for him. So I remember that. I never forgot that at that time. It was just like weird because, especially for me, that was just not something I heard a lot of until I got into like school. Because growing up in Jamaica, as I did, growing up in my family, we never ever talked to each other like that. And we have a mix of different complexions from dark to super light, all different hair textures. That's my family. So, and I've never once heard any comparisons of the lighter being better than the darker or preferring darker to lighter. That's just not what it was. It wasn't until I got to the United States, I was very young, and going to school that I started hearing African Americans talking a lot about Black Americans, actually, just talking a lot about black and ugly and nappy hair and peasy. It's like, what? So, any hoots, too dark. And, I just left it at that. So it was ironic to see him years later not recognizing me and wanting to talk to me. So I was like, hey, I said, you really don't remember me? And he's like, no. I said, we went to elementary school together. He was like, no, I would have remembered you. I would have remembered you. I'm like, yeah. I said, you were in the fifth grade. I gave her the name. I said, you were in Miss Murphy's class, right? And he's like, yeah. I said, yeah, we're in the same class. And I reminded him about what happened. And he was like, no, Shorty, I would have never done that, Shorty. No, no, no. I was like, yeah, actually, you did. So, long story short, I didn't give him my number. And it wasn't that I was like still angry with him because, I mean, that was a long time ago, but you just don't forget that. And, as you get older, as I was looking at him, I was just thinking, what did I see in Eric? So just kind of moved on. But I give that as an example to show how sometimes, I guess I was that diamond in the rough, okay? To him, I must have looked rough. And he was just looking at me now and he's telling me how beautiful I am and how pretty my skin was and how pretty my hair is. But years ago, I was too dark. I didn't lighten up. I didn't get any, whatever that cream is. I didn't lighten my skin. I'm the same complexion. But now it seemed like in the early to late 90s or or early 2000s, I don't know when. It's like all of a sudden dark skin is it. And I would always hear this. This is a little off topic. You're so pretty to be dark. What the heck is that supposed to mean? Oh, dark skin. Oh my God, your skin is nice to be dark. Because dark skinned people normally don't have nice skin. Is that your hair? Is that your hair? Because dark skinned people normally don't have hair like that, or black people normally don't have silky hair like that. It was wild. But anyway, staying on topic, the diamond in the rough, right? So you may see somebody right now that you're looking at him or her and thinking, ew, I don't like him. You know what? You don't have to force yourself to like a person, but the way you treat that person does matter, because you may meet them later on. And after you've insulted them and you treat them badly, you see this guy that you thought had this big head and he was all disproportioned because he's still growing. Now he becomes this handsome person, or she becomes this beautiful person. Or this is someone who is your doctor, or they're a judge, or they're a police officer, or your boss. And while you may say, oh, that was a long time ago when we were kids, it's the fact that you're now in this position where that person, they don't forget about you. They may not still hold any grudges against you, but they definitely don't forget how you treated them. So it's going to be hard to make that connection. It's going to be hard to try to date a person or want to get to know someone that you have hurt or mistreated. So a diamond in the rough, you never know how a person will turn out. And I will say this to you also. Don't miss out on opportunities. People who are really kind and really good-hearted, people like that only come once every now and then in your life. Oftentimes we will say, oh, there are no good men out there, or people are so toxic and people are so this. But if you really think carefully, you may have met somebody who, with a few exceptions, most of us have met someone in our lives that was the real deal. And depending on where you were in your life mentally is how you treated this individual. So people who are genuine, people who are kind, people who are loyal friends, true and real, that would be wonderful partners. You're going to meet them maybe once in your lifetime. You may get another shot with someone else, maybe, and that's a big maybe. But more often than not, you're only going to meet this person once, because they are rare gems. So you met that person probably and you didn't like them. You didn't like the way they looked. They were not your type. They did not fit your standard. But I always say, as I've said in a video before, a lot of times our type, I'm doing the air quotes, our type and our standard is really based on our cultural norms and what we have been programmed to believe is the norm. We're often attracted to people that look like us. We are often attracted to, by following, we're going to be attracted to people simply by following certain norms and certain behaviors, the macro and the micro sociological influences in our lives. That's how we can decipher what is ugly, what is, or who is allegedly ugly, who's pretty, what's attractive, what's not, because we hear it around us and then we adapt to that. And so when we're attracted, we are just following a pattern of behavior that we have been taught to follow. So then you're going to have this type. And so when you meet someone who's actually kind and wonderful, even if they are within your culture, you may be looking for certain things. You are looking for a certain height, a certain build, certain stature, certain status, all these things. And because this person may have 5 out of the 10 requirements or 3 out of those things, you don't like them. You don't like what they're like, what they look like physically. And so you often end up losing the diamond in the rough. You miss out on an opportunity to know someone who is very kind, wonderful, who would make your life who have made you very happy, who you would have fallen in love with and adored had you been able to know who they were on the inside versus focusing on the outside. And I know it's harder said than done, especially when you're young. But I will always say, even if you find that you're not mature enough at that point to really see beyond the outer exterior, always be kind and respectful to that person, even if you're not going to be with them. I'm not saying to lead them on. I'm not saying to try to get things out of them, because that's what some people will do. They will use people, try to get what they can get out of them, and really hurt that person. But if you're kind and you can just respectfully decline and say, hey, this is not something that I'm looking for right now, or this is, or I just, I only like you as a friend, I don't see you in this manner, and be respectful, that's all you can do. Now it's up to that person to deal with that or not deal with that. And that's it. So, but oftentimes we're following this cultural norm, and you're going to miss out on someone that's wonderful, someone that's beautiful, because you will fall in love with the inside. And whatever exterior things that you felt was an issue, you will not notice as much anymore. And things that they can improve on, let's say it's their you want this person to work out more. That's something that you guys can do together as a couple, because you will be with a person who matches you, and you both want what's best for each other, and there will be that mutual understanding, and you can literally be happy. People often are going to look at you where you're at right now at a certain stage of your life, and you miss the diamond in the rough, because you see them now, they're in their little in-between phases. You don't see where they're going to be, whether it's that they blossom into someone gorgeous, or they blossom into someone who is in a position of authority and power, a person who they finally come into themselves, their confidence, they're doing great things, they're just finally figuring out who they are, changing lives, or just becoming a person who's responsible, accountable, and can make you happy, and you can make them happy. A lot of people will miss out on those things because of that. I'll give you an example. When I was in the military, there was this guy. I didn't date him or anything like that, and he didn't like me in that way. We were just friends. We became friends. But when I first met him, he had come to work with me, and we were working in a clinic together. And when he came, the first thing I noticed was he was disfigured, and turned out he had attempted to take his life, and it didn't work. So he attempted to take his life, and he lived, but his face there was just evidence of what he had tried to do. And when I first met him, that of course I noticed that. But as I got to know him, and as I worked with him and knew him as a person, and he even eventually opened up about why he tried to do this, and then overall just him as an individual, suddenly I stopped noticing his disfigurement. It literally, it's like it faded. It's not like it was gone, but I did not notice it as much. And he just looked whole to me in the face. It's not that I didn't see his scars, but it just looked so different. Why? Because I was getting to know him on the inside. And when you look at a person from the viewpoint of looking at them through the heart and not with your eyes, and you get to know them, that person's spirit is going to shine through, and you're going to be able to see a lot more. It's going to go beyond the exterior. I mean, some of you can see, may have had that experience. The diamond in the rough. You may be that person right now. You feel like you're socially awkward. You feel like you're not really that great looking, but you are a diamond in the rough. You have to give yourself a chance and an opportunity. Don't let what's happening in school right now, in college, or this point in time in your life dictate your entire life. Oftentimes we can pick up certain things and internalize things, and we become stuck in a certain time and space, and we cannot look forward. We can't move forward because we're stuck. As I said before, when I was going to school in elementary school, I mean, my experiences was just you're dark. People messing with my hair. You know, my mom, being from Jamaica, my mom had done this hairstyle that people started wearing eventually. They start putting these, the knots, the big knots in the hair, how they twist it and kind of lock it in these knots. But my mom put that, we were wearing that, we call it China bump in Jamaica. So when my mom put that in my hair one day, it was just normal for me in elementary school. But that wasn't styles that they were wearing then. So who circled me and took out all those things out of my head? Other children who look like me. They did that. And they would always kind of do little things until eventually I just got, excuse me, I got tired of it and just took everything, decided I was going to do with it my way and all this was going to end. But I did not allow those things to immobilize me. Even though, yes, it was traumatic. Yes, it was traumatic going home. My hair is all loose and telling my mom what happened and crying and then being teased on the way home because now my hair is loose and being pulled out by a bunch of children who look like me. It's not like they were white people or white children. They were black kids like me, yanking and pulling my hair loose, you see. Now that could have scarred me forever, where I don't trust and I don't like people. But I was a diamond in the rough. I kept going. Had my friends at school, did all that, did what I need to do, and just moved on. Then suddenly, oh, being dark skinned is in style now. Like, really? So that was interesting. But I was not going to be, I was not going to allow allegedly what's the in thing to determine who I am as a person. And I continue to grow, I continue to thrive, I continue to get ahead in life and do different things. And I'm in a better space that now I can turn around and I can help other people and I can talk to other people and say, don't allow people, their words and their cruel words to you at this moment, to immobilize you and to make you feel that you're nothing and you're no one. You have something genuine inside to offer. And a lot of times that's only going to come about when you get to a place of advocating for yourself, separating yourself as soon as you can, and going through the counsel and things that you may need and the self-realization of who you are to discover these hidden treasures within you and who you are, that you are a diamond in the rough, and watch how you blossom and watch how you shine and watch how you become a better individual, a better person. So we have to think about this in several contexts, guys. Thinking of yourself and how people treat you. And now, yeah, it sucks. Mom, dad, brothers, close relatives, individuals who you could have trusted that broke you down. But now we are the adults now. So we can say, oh, this person did that. Oh, this person said that. My ex did this. They did that. And it's legit and it's valid. But now you have to do the work to build yourself up again so that you can enjoy your life, so you can discover who you are on the inside. And also spoke with you about being careful how you treat another person. Also, just because they don't look the way you want them to look right now, you don't know what that person's going to become. And it is not uncommon, especially like in middle school and high school, y'all are all in your little in between phases and all of that, you don't really start, you're not done. So there's more to come out, whether it's external and whether it's internally. You are going to flourish and become who you need to be, but you can also stop yourself. So we have to be careful how we treat people, how we do them. I'm not telling anyone to force themselves to like somebody and to date someone you don't like, but be kind. Be careful of how you let them down. You don't have to let everybody know. You don't have to laugh at the person. You don't have to humiliate them. You don't have to put their letter to you out on the internet and bully them and do all those things, because that will come back eventually to you. And I also want to say, don't miss what may be your true love, someone who is really genuine and kind. You may have met that genuine person, that man or woman that would have made you very happy. You may have met that real friend, that true friend that would have been there for you all the way to the end, but you couldn't recognize it for whatever reason. Maybe you couldn't recognize that diamond in the rough because they didn't look like you socially. You come from different sides of the tracks. They were different race, a different nationality. They didn't dress as nicely as you do or whatever, and you missed that opportunity. True, real, genuine people, people who are going to land an impact, you're not going to come across those type of people all the time. Those type of people they're not a dime a dozen. They're rare. You're going to meet them at some point, some phase in your life. They may love you. They may have a crush on you. They may really want to be a friend to you. And depending on what you do at that moment, how you treat that person will determine if you lose them. And when you lose them, you will get a lot of fake people. You'll get a lot of stunt doubles. You're going to get a lot of almost like this person, but never genuinely that individual. And so then you turn around and you're going, why is everybody so fake? Oh, everybody's so this. Oh, all men are this way. Right? You do that stuff. But if you really sit down and think about it, you met someone wonderful, but he was wearing socks and sandals. You met someone nice, but he or she just didn't match what you were looking for. And someone may say, well, why should I settle? Why should I choose someone that's not my type? But again, I will always say, the type that you and I will look for, the type that we have gone after, or the type that we only looked at and thought was the norm, is often something that's been manufactured culturally in our minds. And the only type we should be looking at is humanity. Humans. Excuse me. Is this person kind, respectful, responsible, accountable? Do they have character? Can they be trusted? Those are the basic things that we should be looking at. Not at anybody's skin color, not at anybody's nationality, but we know that that's not the world we live in today. And even within your own culture, when you, let's say for just the sake of this argument, that you're just looking at your culture and you're looking at your people, there's still ways that we're going to look at our own and be picky. And very oftentimes, you're going to miss your diamond. All right, guys. Hope this makes sense. Sorry this video was so long. Bye.